ignorance to wisdom, and that is how the Eastern wisdom takes us to uh, the knowledge. Knowledge of what? Knowledge of the real self, as we are approaching to the knowledge of the real self. But until the mind is purified completely, reaches to a state of clarity of reflection in the knowledge, we cannot achieve that state. Last four sessions we discussed in detail, and it is good for all of us to that you should go to all the four lessons, make a note, and prepare a main points out of it. It will help you. How it helps you? I'm summarizing today. There is a direct learning from others, direct learning, watching, thinking, learning from the actions and the behavior of others. Then there is a indirect learning. Indirect learning also takes place. I watch, oh, somebody is speaking in a way, oh, that it should not be. So my mind analyzes, observes, and says, no, no, it should be like this. So we reflect on the mistakes and good points of others. That is another way of learning. In the modern world, that is how anger, I should not be angry, I should not be upset. It's such a small thing. Then there is a direct learning through listening, very important in Eastern wisdom. And in the even in the modern education system, direct learning through the listening. But after listening, it is not the accumulation of the knowledge. My mind should not become an information gathering system. If it becomes an information gathering system, it is not going to change my attitude and behavior. So, how this attitude and behavior is going to change by contemplation and reflection, by reflecting on the knowledge, means I I understand one principle and then I think over it. My chain of thoughts is based on the same principle. How to create those chain of thoughts? By asking the question what, why, 5W. You remember? You know 5W. What, why, how, where, when, how. So you just sit on a lazy chair and then start contemplating and reflecting. So what happens if you acquire a habit of this contemplation and reflection? The knowledge will reveal what is required in your life. This is what the masters are saying. So in Eastern wisdom, listening first, contemplation and reflection is the second, followed by the practice. Followed by the practice. Last time, some of you discussed about the three gunas. So I'm bringing you back to those three gunas. There is a joy of ride of a bike, of sports car, huh? Of GT, joy of a ride. The joy remains only when the car is under your control. You have a sports car and the car goes beyond your control. The joy is lost. So joy of a ride in the life is only when the mind lives in the sato guna, not dominated by tamo and rajoguna. Think of it. Even, when I'm talking to it. So my talking, my action should be 80% dominated by the sato guna. It should have a clarity, it should have a calmness, it should have a peace, it should reflect uh, the knowledge in any activity. Why? It makes you a seeker. Well, we are moving back again to the same thing. Satoguna, the knowledge, clarity gives enough freedom to act. My pleasure seeking mind should not give me enough freedom to act. Then this mind will go beyond the control and it will bring the ignorance in any situation. So, satoguna, knowledge, clarity gives enough freedom to act, but should not become violent. How it becomes violent? Go back to the equation by the sub desires. Not too much, it should not become too much tamasic, except tamasic guna is required in for deep sleep. It is required. So when the sub desires or the rajasic guna is not active, you can get a good sleep. These gunas are not visible. You cannot see them, but their manifestation, their symptoms, our mental attitude reflects these three gunas. Why I brought these three gunas? So let us understand the three gunas in listening, learning, becoming a seeker, and achieving a success. Yeah, that topic may interest you. So you listen from one ear and that goes out from the other ear. You are in a tamasic guna state. We listen, the talk, you listen from the teacher, and you listen from one ear and it goes out from the other ear. The tamasic guna is not ready to accept the knowledge. Are you getting it? You listen from one ear, retain a little to claim, retain what is required for your selfishness. You are listening from the Rajasic Guna mode of the mind. Are you getting it? Tamasic Guna is not ready to continues to contemplate and reflect throughout the day. And by the evening, you got it. Your mind says, I got it. This is the message. What is going to happen the next day? You're going to change your behavior and attitude. It will definitely change. But just after the session, your mind goes back to your problems. You are constantly thinking about those issues and challenges and anxiety and fear, etc. It is tamasic guna listening. You're listening from the tamasic. Now, I'm just telling you that why one person is able to retain the knowledge and capable of changing their behavior and attitude, and other is not. I'm summarizing the last four sessions in a different way. So I have to judge myself. I have to check myself. Oh, what was the talk last week? Do I remember? No, I don't remember. It is gone. It is gone. Rajasic Guna, I retain only for a short period. Oh, I have a problem of sleeping, and you told me to breathe and do this practice. So I am focused on that. It is not going to help you for a long run. So that is the Rajasic Guna of the listening. You listen from both the ears. You allow it to go to the intellect. You reflect on it. You check how it can be applied. It is the sattvic guna of listening. You don't listen as if you are listening to the news from the CNN or other channels. The very mood of sattvic listening brings the joy in your life. It is not the teacher. You see how our masters have every every time they point out it is the knowledge, not the teacher. Teacher is not important. Teacher is just transmitting that knowledge. So when the mind absorbs that knowledge, you listen from both the ears, you allow it to go to the intellect, you reflect it, you check how it can be applied. The mind is in a sattvic guna mode that makes you a seeker, and that will drop the sub desires of the equations. You need not to think of it. It will naturally drop the sub desires. Your mind is very clear. Why? Because it will not be attached to the sub desires. It will only need those sub desires which is highly required. You know the equation. I'm not repeating it. So now you just check the equation. Happiness is equal to desire fulfilled divided by sub desires needs to be entertained. So you entertain only those desires which is a need, which is not a seeking happiness from the desire. So Rajasic activity is there. Rajasic guna is active. Minus tamasic. So what is the equation? Happiness is equal to happiness. And that is how the mathematical problem is solved. Happiness, I start in the moment of the happiness. I perform an activity in the mode of sattvic guna, minus not required rajasic guna, minus the tamasic guna, you live into that state of happiness. Think of it. Think of it. Let us have a little deeper understanding. Tamasic mind and intellect. First type of the person, or you can say the tamasic mind and intellect. We can find many people around us. They go to the college, school, they have done their master's degree. Mind is empty in the beginning and empty after the master's degree. They have masters, they have PhDs. But just by talking to them, you can understand that, oh, mind is still empty. That mind is not ready, not interested in digesting that knowledge, not interested in consuming the knowledge. I do not want to keep the knowledge in my head. No respect for the knowledge. But they have done masters. There are many people you can find around them, around yourself. Why? Because they keep their mind closed. So tamasic guna opposes the knowledge. They are ready to listen, they participate, but they are not getting it. One guy from Dennis Sessions, that person wrote to me, I have, no, you gave an example of a person who changed in 1 year. And I have been listening to you for the last 5 years. I have no change in my life. Not because of me, because of you, because of the tamasic mind. At least you are admitting that you are not changing. I'm giving you the daily examples that I meet in my life. Rajasic, mind and intellect. Rajasic mind and intellect, it wants to receive the knowledge, it pays attention, it is focused, it receives the knowledge based on my selfishness, and then it is closed. Rajasic mind says this much information is okay. I can use this information and I can meet my selfish end, and that is all. So what happens? For the time being, you change your behavior and attitude, but the impressions deep inside remains present and they become active in your life. So there is no fundamental change. So what happens in the second category? You receive the knowledge, what is required, and then you close your mind and intellect. You don't need to reflect. You say, no, I need not to reflect. I've done it. So those people you will find uh, in yoga. No, I have done it, What I have done mindfulness, I have done it last year. I feel it good. Or just focus on the breath. Why to focus on the breath? How to focus on the breath? Where to focus? What it means? How it helps? I don't want to know. No doubt they get something. In the sattvic mind and the intellect, have an open mind. They receive knowledge even from adverse and favorable conditions in your life. In case of the tamasic, become violent. Rajasic, they become aggressive. In cases of adversity, you have a pain, you have a problem, you have a duality, you have a conflict. But in the sattvic mind and intellect, ah, you receive the knowledge in the state of the calmness. In adverse, you see it is an adverse or favorable condition in your life, and you maintain that calmness. That is the state of sattvic mind. Our masters wants us to help the mind to be dominated by the sattvic guna. Because only the sattvic guna, if it dominates, can help me reach to the final destination of the Eastern wisdom. Think, think. You have to think of it. All the last four sessions. Four sessions. So you see, the Rajasic guna, it has an activity. It is always in active mode. But Sattvic guna, it is always in the mode of goodness. It is always in the mode of the truth. And what is the Tamasic guna? Tamasic guna in the mode of inertia, inactivity. That we normally say, they feel, those people who sleep in meditation, it is the Tamasic mode. Rajasic guna? Rajasic guna, you have a passion, desire, and attachment. When we have a passion, desire, and attachment, we can work for some goal. But as compared to the Rajasic guna in Sattvic mode, we have a light, we have an understanding, harmony, and the balance. And in Tamasic guna, we have a darkness mode. You are listening to me, and after the lesson, you say, I still have a lot of problem. What should I do? Tamasic mode. Oh, I did not understand because I'm not open. Rajasic guna have a tremendous energy. Sattvic guna has an essence. They say where to use this energy. Should I use this energy in anger or hesitation or reaction? Yeah, you maintain that level of awareness. No more anxiety, no more fear. It is going to waste my energy. And Tamasic guna goes for it. They are not aware of it. In Rajasic guna, you become a great businessman, great researcher, no doubt. It has its own benefit. But in Sattvic Guna, you move upward. There's a vertical rise of consciousness. In Rajasic Guna, there is a horizontal expansion. And in Tamasic Guna, you have a downward flow. Because of the downward flow, you always like to entertain the sub-desires. What is the essence of the Rajasic Guna? The essence of the Rajasic Guna is activity. In meditation, do you need an activity? No. Sensation, comfort, and steadiness. What do you need? You need more of a Sattvic Guna. You need your intelligence, you need your awareness should shift from the world, then to the body, from the body to the breath, from breath to the mind, from mind to the intellect, from intellect to the ego, and from ego to the higher consciousness. And what about this tamasic guna? Sloth, dullness. This is another way to understand and use the mind in our daily life. See other aspect, in Rajasic Guna creates a binding desire by means of passion and the craving. It creates a lot of sub-desires, which is beyond the need. And that makes the mind constantly agitated. Even if you don't feel agitated, internally you are agitated because you have a monkey mind, biased mind. Well, more of biased mind is more in the Tamasic Guna. Now, see, let us make a note of it. When I find adverse, unfavorable conditions in my life, with people, with conditions, it is Tamasic Guna. I'm not able to get out of the Tamasic Guna. Any situation, any adversity, it is the mind that is thinking. I'm in that situation. See, any adversity, my mind is opposing the knowledge, and so I fall back into the adverse situations and adverse conditions. Sattvic Guna liberates you. Sattvic Guna says, let me think of why I have fear, why I have anxiety. So in matter of anxiety and depression and duality and a conflict, you have a play of Rajasic and the Tamasic Guna. And the moment the Sattvic Guna comes, you start relaxing yourself. And that is why we have a talk therapy. In modern psychology, we have a counseling. We say listening and learning. Sattvic Guna is characterized by clarity, calmness, wisdom, positivity, discernment, dispassion. You do not kill your intellect in the Sattvic Guna. And if you do not kill your intellect, you can bring your wisdom back. But how it comes? By regular practice of contemplation and reflection, regular listening and consistent listening and learning, so that these principle becomes yours own. We are having a serious discussion. Rajasic mind is driven by the passion, ambition, and a desire for activity and stimulation. Rajasic Guna is almost attached to the world outside. So that is why when I sit in meditation, it becomes difficult for me to be still. So, what is the conclusion? Whenever my body moves during the practice of meditation, it is because of the Rajasic guna. I fall into the daydreaming, I fall into sleep, lot of. So, that is opposing the knowledge, meditation in Tamasic guna. Tamasic guna is associated with ignorance, confusion, inertia. You may find it a bit challenging, the last four session. I said last, it is the summary of the last four session. So when I talk of the happiness is equal to desire fulfilled divided by sub desires to be entertained, it is the three gunas are working at a very subtle level. So I should develop that level of awareness. Oh, is the mind moving into the sattvic guna, mind moving into tamasic guna, mind moving into the rajasic guna? It will help us to hammer the delusion by the knowledge, and we can enter into the new and higher state of meditation. One master says it's a language, it's an expression. So first, let me have his expression. He says sattvic guna must destroy the rajasic and the tamasic guna to enter into a higher meditation. Rajasic guna, no three gunas can ever be destroyed. So here he means that sattvic guna should be 90%, 6 or 7% should be rajasic guna, and 3% should be tamasic guna. Because if the tamasic guna is not present in meditation, your body cannot be still. You cannot listen to my instruction. You cannot have a right flow of knowledge without the Rajasic guna. The flow of knowledge is done by the Rajasic guna, and the knowledge as such is the Sattvic guna. These three gunas has to be present. The fuel has to be there to drive the car, and that fuel is the Rajasic guna. The car as such is the Tamasic, and the driver is the Sattvic guna. Think of this. So never ever think that oh, I should destroy the Rajasic and the Tamasic guna completely. It's a metaphorically, he said. How it is related to our current topic. Rajasic and Tamasic guna dominates in my life, creates the world is suffering. That is another way to summarize it. Rajasic and the Tamasic guna are dominating in my life. 9 factors returns, and that is what the samsara is suffering. I just made it. That's why I told you that you have to go through all the last four sessions. So I'm talking the same thing. All the 9 factors which causes the world to suffering for me, it is caused by behind. It is a Rajasic guna, it is Tamasic guna. Even if I don't have a little of Sattvic guna, that I'm ready to listen, I'm open to listening, I'm ready to reflect, that begins your satsang, the second group that I discussed. And you continue to follow it, it brings the realization. And then higher sattvic guna means what? Higher sattvic guna means the last 4 or 5. I said, remind, remember, repeat, revise. So the higher sattvic guna helps you helps that self-remembering. Mind wants to enter, mind just, because of the situation, it enters into the anxiety. The next moment, there is a satyaguna and it changes you. That is the meaning of living in a present moment, just not talking of intellectually. Oh, live in a present moment. I'm angry, so live in anger. That is the present moment. No, that will not work. I believe you are getting it. No, I have a lot of stress, and I say you live in a present moment. What it means? What does it mean? It means nothing. But it has become a statement, fashion statement in Eastern wisdom. That is not going to work. To remind, recognize, revise, and repeat the 4 R's in the fourth group means what? I live a little more than required, the Satoguna. I'm living and a little more than Satoguna is there. When 24 by 7, when I wake up in the morning, when I talk to a person, when I attending the lesson, when I'm talking to my parents or kids, a little more than so. What it keeps you above the Rajasic and the Tamasic guna. It prevents you to move through the Rajasic and the Tamasic guna. What happens? You constantly live into that higher state of awareness without any practice. This is for you to think and contemplate and reflect. So maybe on some day your mind is not listening properly. Just check it is because of the tamasic guna. It is distracted somewhere. Yesterday I was giving a group lesson to the New Jersey people. So that guy I told you that he was always disturbed by the fire station, which is very near to his house. He lives in Princeton. Yesterday he did meditation and he said, there was yesterday in New Jersey, there was a lot of wind. So he said, those wind and disturbed me. So if one fire station disturbs you, lot of disturbances will follow you. Red signal. If I'm upset with you, I will definitely be upset with other people. I have to get rid of that upset caused by the Rajasic and the Tamasic guna first. Are you getting it? I believe you're getting it. The very upset in the mind must go. It should not, it should not blame others and the world. The moment I blame others, Tamasic guna comes and the world is the suffering. You can play around with these three gunas in your mind all the time. Okay, I responded very well. I did not respond very well. Oh, maybe because of the tamasic guna, I did not listen to what the person was saying. Oh, because I oppose that knowledge. Or the rajasic guna, I reacted to it. You can play at the subtler level in your mind, and you will see how the life changes. Close your eyes. Eyes are closed, my friends. Are you ready for meditation? Place, position, place, position, posture. I'm not saying too much about it. I have explained it many a times. Being comfortable. So being comfortable, you see that essence. Satoguna picks up the essence. Being comfortable. Your mind either goes to and experiences the sensation, comfort, and steadiness. Or it recognizes the comfort is in the body, it is not of the body. That is living in the present moment. To the knowledge you live in the present moment and being carefree. Oh, these thoughts are different from me, separate from me, again the same. And then we move to Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. You know, this mantra helps you to continue to live into the state of the Satoguna. Now, see how Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Swastir. May there be happiness for all. Happiness for all. Happiness not for me, not for selfishness. Rajoguna is gone. And you are seeking something which you are. You are not opposing the knowledge, you are supporting the knowledge. So Tamasic Guna is already gone. That is why we have to chant these mantras. Understand it clearly. Once you have a clear and deeper understanding, your mind will say, may there be happiness for all, and you can bypass the adverse condition in your life. That is what those monks have, masters have done it. But that demands a very higher level of a seeker. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. May there be peace for all. Peace is a quality of the Satoguna. Do you see that? Now you are seeing the mantra in totally in a different perspective. It helps us to enrich our mind. May there be peace for all. Because I am seeking something, then only I will enter into the world. But now I'm seeking peace for everyone. What happens to the Rajasic Guna? You see that? That is what we have been doing. And today we have that, oh, that revelation. Yes. Mind says, oh, yes. Sarvesham Puranam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Puranam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Puranam Bhavatu. You get so much emotional. Let everyone be complete and whole. Why? Because the wholeness is within us. So Sato Guna pulls the Rajo and the Tamo Guna. Undertake a journey inside. Why inside? Wholeness is inside. Completeness is inside. Because the world constantly changes, and what changes cannot have a wholeness. You see one reason? There are many other reasons. That is why we say that one cannot be perfect. Yes, no car can be perfect, no watch can be perfect, no house can be perfect. Why? It is made up of parts. Real self is not made up of the parts. It is one whole. That is why we say Sarvesham Puranam Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. May there be auspiciousness. Auspiciousness is again a higher quality of the Satoguna, higher attribute of the Satoguna. Lower attribute of auspiciousness is also there in the Rajoguna. How? Today I got $1,000,000. Today I bought a new car. It is also in the Tamoguna. Who will make an effort? Complete laziness, dullness. that that auspiciousness. Tamoguna understands in a different way, Rajoguna understands in a different way, Satoguna understands in a different way. And now we will not leave the practice of the breathing, purifying the mind, looking inside the forehead in the space, and saying Om Shanti and start breathing quick and short breath into your rib cage through the nostrils. And now you understand. I will stop speaking. You understand that if there is a resistance, endure it, continue to endure it until you find the joy of doing it. And once you find the joy of doing it, the time will come. You will say, it's a joy of being, I'm not doing it, it is happening. Now we'll take this breathing aspect to the joy of being. I have no hesitation to say that you all understand what I'm talking about. So now you see that breathing is not remain the breathing practice. It becomes a matter of transcending the rajo and the tamoguna. Tamoguna resistance, your endurance rajoguna, joy of doing satoguna, joy of being higher satoguna. Continue. Endurance means we make some effort. Sarajagana, joy of doing. You see, the joy of doing is the satoguna. What about the joy of being a higher satoguna? The real journey of meditation begins with a higher satoguna. You have to think and contemplate a lot. Continue breathing into the rib cage. Om Shanti continues. Body remain in the state of stillness. No doubt, on a given day, your mind may be in the Rajoguna, maybe in the Tamoguna, but 99% it lives in the Satoguna. You are progressing. So it's a self check. In the state of the, if I say in the state of Satoguna, it's a false statement, but for the sake of understanding, you are aware of the path in the Satoguna resistance, endurance, joy of doing, joy of being. And everything is happening in the mind. Breathing becomes a secondary. Now stop this. Be aware of the flow of the breath. Now see the flow of the breath is the joy of doing or joy of being. Now you can easily understand. I need not to say it. I simply say, do nothing, just aware of the flow of the breath. You can make out it's a joy of doing and joy of being. On the other hand, you have a flow of the breath is equal through both the nostrils, which takes you deeper, and something deeper inside takes you deeper, and you are not doing anything. Do you see that? And so we have reached so called the higher Satuguna. Let us not forget the third type of the breathing. You look inside the forehead in this space and continue to drop the Om Shanti there and then start the third type of the breathing. You inhale deep, long, hissing sound first into the belly, then into the chest. You breathe out from the belly in the chest. It's a very long breath. You take a very long belly breath into the chest, breathe out from the belly and the chest. I introduced today, after a long period, mind opposes tamoguna thing. You are aware of it. So rajoguna has to be active. First, you inhale into the belly, then into the rib cage, breathe out from the belly, from the rib cage, and it's a long, deep, and the hissing breath. Mm, mm, mm. Your mind constantly nagging you. No, no, no. And you say yes, yes, yes. Endurance. Once you develop this ability in this practice of meditation, you can get rid of any form of anxiety, depression, duality, fear, because you have the ability to invoke the endurance. So, I have a very long goal for you all. Mm, 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 mm. Very long, hissing breath. So I won't say we are struggling between the resistance and the endurance. No, because the Satoguna is active, you continue doing the practice, and that makes the practice easy, even if it is totally new. Long, deep breath into the belly, first into the chest, breathing out from the belly, from the chest. Continue. Your mind, some corner of the mind says no, tamoguna. That is opposing the knowledge. So you move that into a rajoguna. You keep on doing it. The rajoguna offers the resistance. You endure it, satoguna. That is how you, if you understand it, that is how we understand any mechanism of the machine. Mm, mm, mm. Long, deep, and the hissing breath both into the belly and the chest. It is the Rajoguna that says, after the practice, I will perfect. And Satoguna, understand it clearly, it says, I can do it. I'm doing it. There's a very striking difference between these three gunas when they are present predominantly in the mind. And stop this breathing. Pay attention or become aware of the flow of the breath. You might have seen the second, once I said you to stop it, the second flow is still deep, longer. The third breath becomes little calmer, fourth breath, calm, and then the fifth goes to the normal pattern. It takes time, and we miss it. Now we are aware of the flow of the breath from both the nostrils. Why? I told you, joy of being. But that comes later by regular practice. So either if I say you are in the mind is in the mode of joy of being, your flow of the breath is equal. Your flow of the breath is equal, you are in the mode of joy of being. Very subtle, very interesting principle. In that state of being aware of the flow of the breath from both the nostrils, simultaneously we are also experiencing the changes, the tingling, the numbness, the vision, the colors. They come and go. Let them come and go. Your awareness is only on the flow of the breath. Why? Oh, is there a joy of being? And that is what the joy of being we enter consciously in the last step. Move the mind into the cave of your heart, equilateral triangle. You see the Rajasic Guna now. Rajasic Guna is dominated influenced by the Sattvic Guna. You drop Om Shanti on each side of a triangle. Sattvic Guna helps you to drop it easily, clockwise and anti-clockwise. And when you see that it is sinking, and now you enter into pushing the mind deep inside the cave of your heart, mind seemingly stops, and you see the last part of the Rajasic activity, Shanti, Shanti. That is all. You enter into the joy being. Can I say, can we enter into joy? Yes. Whether on one side we can say self absorption, but here we see that we are conscious, we are fully aware, and we are not doing anything. Not doing anything is not activating the Rajasic Guna. And Tamasic Guna is already too far, provided we are not falling into sleep. And then the magic happens. Any disturbances, Rajsik? We know what we need to do. Rajsik Guna is there. Okay, we will go for the Rajsik Guna. No problem, mind. You go back and sync. When you do the practice at your home, and this last step, it is always good to extend the time for the last step. You remain in that state. Give a half an hour window and see that what happens. That will help you go deeper. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Your mind in extreme satoguna will say, why this teacher is saying it? I want to stay in that state. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Become aware of the right hand, aware of the left hand. Lift your Buddha palms, place it on your eyes. Open the eyes inside the palms. Know your experiences. Bring the hands down. We will share our experiences. It benefits each one, and it also helps me to prepare for my next talk, which principle to introduce. How are you, Stephen?
Good, sir. Thank you. Uh, the um, the lesson is a nice reminder of being able to reference the gunas with the increase in awareness. It is applying the contemplation reflection gives a clear way to do self-assessment um, always. And I know for me, being able to to look at in those individual gunas and relate it to how I'm feeling at that moment, um, will shift me immediately.
Yeah.
So I thank you for that. And it was a great reminder. As far as the meditation goes, it was just calm, quiet, with nothing but listening to your voice and following through, and entered into a very deep space. So thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Stephen. It's a reminder what he says. I'm just translating in a everyday example. I'm into anxiety. I have to find out which guna is dominating. The very recognition makes you aware and makes you separate from the anxiety. But that is only possible for a higher level of a seeker. How are you, David and Jerry?
Thank you. Yeah, the gunas are going to be listened to over and over. That was yet another great tool to get to that consciousness level. And the other thing that really struck me, I loved, is that the real self has no parts. It's pure, and that was playing over and over in my head through the meditation, which, by the way, was extremely deep. I like the silence during the meditation, and that got really to a deep level. So thank you.
Beautiful. Your mind stuck to that joy of being. When we say being, it is not made up of parts. Becoming means it is made up of the parts. It is constantly changing. So the entire journey of self-discovery is how to turn my whole life from becoming to being. First step. Now becoming to being totally absorbed. But I have to live constantly. So you move from being to becoming, not from ego to becoming. That is what the awakening is. Just to make you clear in a different way. How are you, Jerry?
Sir, I'm good, thank you. Yeah, the lesson was great. My takeaway was that we're not able to schedule sadness. We don't schedule the hair on the back of the neck standing up. We don't schedule the fear. We don't schedule any of that. We can't. But when we live in that sattvic nature, then we accept it, we understand it relatively quickly. And then we know how to move gracefully with it.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I would say that, anytime we have anger, anxiety, reaction, duality, ask your intellect. I didn't schedule it. From where you have come? Come on. Why you have entered into me? So when you are asking this question, you move into the Satoguna mode. Information is very easy. There are three gunas. But to go deeper and understand its implication in daily life is huge. 5,000 years ago, one guy was a great master, is known as Uddhav. There is another Gita, Uddhav Gita. His entire teaching is based on the three gunas: how the ego takes place, how the ego destroys you, how the anxiety takes place, and then he takes you to the step of path of awakening. So we'll talk about it later. So how are you, Dennis?
Thank you. I was thinking that while listening to the teacher, we usually have a habit of saying that, oh, this part of what the teacher says I agree with, and this part I don't agree with. And this is clearly the mind in Rajaguna. This mind that has no idea where the truth lies, that is driven by desires, and that thinks that that the pleasure is the only truth, makes the decision of what is right in the teaching and what is wrong in the teaching, what I should follow and what I should not follow. So rather than making this decision, our mind should question itself. Why am I accepting or rejecting the parts of the knowledge instead of accepting it as a whole? So that was my contemplation today. And as far as the practice, it was very, very deep and calm and peaceful, and didn't want to come out at the end.
Beautiful practice. You see what Dennis is saying. It is worth listening again and again and again. I filter out that information, that part of the knowledge, because of the Rajasic and the Tamasic guna. I don't want to I don't want to receive the knowledge as a whole. This is the summary. And this is happening all the time. When this stops, you are a seeker. When this stops, you are a seeker. Because seeker means that I receive the knowledge as it is. I should not reject and accept any part before I contemplate, reflect, practice, experience. Our ego, our past habits, our stress and the suffering in the past blocks this knowledge. And that is why our masters have been teaching through different ways the same thing. So I have also to analyze myself. Which part of the knowledge is blocked? Who blocked it? Mind. And that will open the ways. How are you, Barbara?
I am very good, thank you. I have to sit and digest the lesson today a little bit more before I can comment on it.
Yeah.
I found it extremely interesting and explains a lot of things for me. As far as the meditation today, I was completely absorbed. It was totally calm. The breathing was effortless, and I just wanted to stay in that state.
Yeah, yeah. So staying in that state creates a joy of being. Yes, especially the last four sessions, you listen to it and then come to this one, you'll be able to understand the play of these three gunas. Beautiful. How are you, Christina?
I'm well, thank you. Today, I understood the gunas in a much deeper way, and it's like there's this blind spot I couldn't figure out for a while now, many months, and this really helped me to understand in ways my mind still gets caught up in the delusions and not even realizing it. So I appreciated the clarity. I felt light and free, and like I could sit all day.
Good. Very good. Sit all the day. It's an indication of the joy of being. Yes, gunas are very intricate and very complex principle, and it has to be understood through many different ways, with reference to the food, with reference to our attitude, with reference to what the mind is doing, with reference to the body, with reference to our relationship. And it's a long journey. I just picked up one part of it. And yes, I appreciate you got a different perception of it. How are you, Vaibhav?
Thank you, sir. So practice was good. Today I was also like thinking on that example for car and the driver. Like when I was driving, I cannot expect that the road will always be smooth, and I cannot blame the road to be smooth. I have
Yeah,
to be aware and I have to drive correctly. So with life also, I cannot expect that everything will going to be smooth. I have to be aware and I have to deal it with awareness.
Yes.
So this was even I was going through the whole day, and then the practice was really calm. It was saying to me that if I can empty myself, then why I'm filling myself with unnecessary information? Let me be calm and peaceful.
Yeah. Sattvic guna is saying to the Rajasic guna, why you are so active? It is not required. Think of these. Let me, yes, I will take up one more session on these three gunas. So take these three gunas as three individuals in you and then deal with it. So we don't find a smooth road all the time in our life. There is a bumpy road, and I have to see, I have to get rid of the Rajasic and the Tamasic. It is the Tamasic guna. And but if I drive, if I'm over speeding, it is the Rajasic guna. And what is the over speeding? I'm fully busy. You understand? I don't have a time to practice meditation. Really? Yes. You are very good. So you see, this is what happens in our life, and we don't notice it. Beautiful way of sharing. How are you? Do you want to speak, Terry?
I I think I just needed to have more of the silence.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to do two things at the same time. So when I'm listening, I stop breathing.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it is tamasic guna stuck there. Tamasic guna opposes the knowledge. We can do multitasking. We are aware of it. So the
Mhm.
mind just opposes that. Someday it does not oppose, and someday it opposes. Someday it goes smooth, and someday it opposes. But it's okay. It's a part of the journey. How are you, Sangeeta?
सर प्रैक्टिस बहुत अच्छी थी और सर राजसिक गुण कई बार लगता है कि हावी होता है लाइफ में तो
क्या हावी
अवेयरनेस जब आती
क्या हावी होता है?
राजसिक गुण
हाँ. Yeah, she is saying that in her life, Rajasic Guna dominates. Normally, in our modern life, the Rajasic Guna dominates, and second category is the Tamasic Guna dominates. So, whenever we are clear, calm, and relaxed, Sattvic Guna dominates. That is all for today. Very good. Thank you very much. We will meet
Thank,
again.
Thank you.
thank you, sir. Thank you. Namaste.